It's time now for Voices of the Region. Every week we talk with an area journalist about the stories they are covering. Our guest today is Aaron Brown, an author and columnist from Itasca County.
It's now inclusive of all of the Ojibwe reservations in Minnesota, all in one district. First time in about a century that's happened, actually a little over a century. And it also is more reflective of the strange 8th district that we've come to know. There's a large chunk of ex-urban, suburban voters down in the south, the Range, Duluth, but now Bemidji's in the district and Lake of the Woods County. So you go all the way from Lake of the Woods all the way down to Forest Lake, which is on almost to the Twin Cities. That's a big district with a lot of different interests. So that's the congressional seat. In the legislative seats, we saw really the Iron Range lose essentially a House seat and also most of a Senate seat as these have expanded to the west and to the south. I always say they have only one way to go. Canada's north of us and Lake Superior is east of us. You can't draw maps into those parts of the world. And so you now see one central Iron Range district that extends from Coleraine next to Grand Rapids all the way to Aurora. And the Mesabi Iron Range, not every inch of it, but almost all of it is in that new Senate district. And it's put two lawmakers together on the west side. Representative Julie Sandstead is drawn in with Spencer Igoe. Sandsted's a Democrat, Igoe's a Republican. They're paired together. That could be an interesting race. He's been in that seat representing the Iron Range for a very long time. He has always been one of these, I guess, characters that represent a certain ethos of the Iron Range delegation. And he, of course, has been just tragically hit with this disease that is just terrible. And so he has decided to retire, leaving an open seat. And I would say, in some ways, at least politically speaking, it's kind of a fight for the soul of the Iron Range in this Senate seat, because it's probably the Democrats' best chance to get a seat. Of course, Tomassoni had become an independent here in this these last 2 years, and in doing so, he had caucused with the Republicans. He got a chairmanship out of the power sharing arrangement with the Higher Education Committee. And so this essentially is, a Republican-held seat to a large degree. And so this becomes something of a toss-up, a chance for Democrats to get a seat back, because the Iron Range DFL is going to be trying to do that. And I think Republicans are looking at this as a real opportunity to solidify their increasing success on the Iron Range, maybe even winning big on the Iron Range if the climate favors that. But nevertheless, as much as that is important for the future of where the region goes politically, it is, of course, with sadness that Senator Tomassoni was to retire by his ALS diagnosis. For North Shore to close is significant because it means that the company's strategy is shifting. And this, I think, is what that news really means, is that the steel industry is adjusting the way it makes steel away from the old blast furnaces toward the new electric arc furnaces. And that's only backed up by the fact that Cleveland Cliffs also idled one of its steel mills that has a blast furnace in Indiana. And that's a furnace that takes traditional taconite pellets and now is moving more towards its electric arc furnaces, which use scrap steel and direct reduced iron, either briquettes or pellets. And so you're going to start to see more mines on the range adjust how they make their pellets to adjust to this new style. Some will, and then the ones that don't are the ones we have to worry about perhaps closing for good. And that's going to be a big part of the industry here in the midsection of the 21st century, watching how the steel industry completely, as it typically does every 50 years or so, completely remakes itself in a new image. Probably one with fewer jobs overall and a much more efficient supply chain operation.